This is one of the more popular Tradescantia varieties in recent years. This is called Tradescantia albiflora variety Nanouk. And it is certainly a very, very colourful, very, very interesting Tradescantia. As can be seen, nice variegation on the upper surfaces of the leaves. Dark green and white and pink. And on the undersides of the leaves, a really striking shade of purple with very dark green, almost black striping. Really quite spectacular. So easy to see why this is an extremely popular plant. Unfortunately, it's not quite as easy as other Tradescantias to grow. There are a few things to bear in mind. The first thing is that it doesn't like to be overwatered. Better to let it dry out in between waterings to prevent stem rot, and also the leaves are a little sensitive to water. If water collects on the leaves, you can get brown spots occurring, as well as occasionally you get also rotting. So if you can, when you water it, try to keep the water off the leaves, off the foliage, and get it down into the crown of the plant at the compost. It is a scrambling plant, like most other Tradescantias. So it can grow amongst other houseplants. It will climb over them. It will use them as support. Or you can even train it over the edge of a shelf. Or you can put it in a hanging pot and allow the stems to trail down over the pot, over the edges of the pot. If you have a hanging pot, it makes an interesting hanging basket plant. This plant is just a youngster, so the stems are not floppy and trailing yet, but it's not going to take long. It is quite a fast growing plant, so these stems will soon get long, start to trail. If the stems do get too long, and with almost all Tradescantias there comes a point when the stems, some of the stems will get a little bit too long for their position, just trim them back with scissors to maintain shape. And you can also pinch these plants out. You can pinch out the growths with thumb and forefinger, or you can use a pair of scissors. You can pinch the growths and it will encourage bushiness, so that you can have a bushy, rounded plant if that's what you desire. But bear in mind that once the plant reaches a height of about 20 centimeters, the stems are going to become floppy, because it is, as I said, a scrambling plant. It's not actually a shrubby plant. Propagation is very easy. All we need to do is take stem lengths, such as this one at the back here, with approximately 3 leaves. So we've got a leaf growth at the top, 1, 2, 3, and then we could cut this plant, this growth rather, at the back here, and that would make a nice sized cutting, which we could root in a jar of water or in a pot of compost. This plant roots just as easily in water as it does in compost, so whichever is your preference for propagation, and rooting is very fast. Whether it's in water or compost, it is very, very quick indeed, just a matter of a couple of weeks and you'll have root growth. If you are rooting in water, let the roots get about an inch, 3 centimeters long, and then pot up in potting compost. Or you can even remove the cutting and then put the cutting into the corners of the pot, of the existing pot, and then you'll have obviously a very bushy pot full of plants. That's quite a nice way of propagating Tradescantia. It's not fussy about its potting compost, but because it doesn't like sitting in water and it doesn't like to have soggy roots, then we just need to make sure that it is a very free draining potting compost, and that should keep the plant relatively happy. So don't overwater, don't let it sit in water, let it dry out in between waterings. This plant is one of those that is going to thrive on neglect. So be careful that you don't kill it with kindness.